Lights. All right. So if you're watching this in the recording, pretty much I've just been missing for a little while. Thought I'd come back online, and I got some homework to do. And it's just getting kind of lonely. So I'm going to do some file management and answer some Q&A in the comments. And if anybody joins in, hallelujah. If not, then you'll just hear me talking to myself a whole bunch. I got my... Sorry, all my studio equipment got moved around. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Still hear that air conditioning. Golly. All right, so let's get my presentation. Present. I don't want to know extra camera, no slides, no share screen. Yep. Let's go over to, can I share an entire screen? Yes.
There may be 3D from an alien civilization flying all over the place in the universe. The problem
Whoa, trippiness.
it turns out is just as big.
There we go. Trippiness is gone.
To the moment they meet their end, they get hit with a gamma ray or a planet killer asteroid or a war or a pandemic or whatever. Maybe they access this.
All right, some tunes on in the background. Fortunately, only I can hear them because of copyright. No, you can't see my email.
Two civilizations have physical contact.
There we go. Look at that.
The Christmas tree problem makes it much less likely that any technological civilization will ever get to visit a neighbor. And that's a problem we face. So here's the thing that almost always comes up in a disappointing conversation. Aliens are more advanced than us. They've probably figured out the laws of physics better than we do. So they are not limited by time or distance. They are not bound by special relativity. Like all we poor humans know, special relativity is among the most thoroughly tested and proven. All the laws of physics. Hey, maybe the aliens are smarter than aliens.
All right, let's see how the channel's doing right now.
So small and break the laws.
Go to our dashboard. Because of you guys, I got to look at this at like 170 zoom, so it's all over the place. Everything's really good. Hey, we hit 5 million views. It's nice to see. Getting all kinds of notifications because I turned on memberships now. Memberships are going to be 99 cents. Oh, look who's here. Hey, advanced level, dude. What's going on, my man? I missed you. Missed everybody. Hey, I'm just doing an impromptu stream. I had a lot of catching up to do in the comments, and I thought, man, I was like, I might as well just open it up and bring some people in. People come and hang out and share a Keystone. That's awesome. So I got a lot of mail to go through today. Got a lot of comments. Check out and see what's going on. I got to do some investigation and find out what some. I got to figure out what some of the stuff is. Looks like Mr. Pylon did well for himself after the. Okay, I saw this comment this morning and I didn't get it. Now I get it. It's an electricity joke. Got it. Pylon. Ah. Went over my head this morning when I was waking up. Hmm.
Intelligent alien civilization is going to hit math. And their math is going to tell them the exact same thing that our math tells. And these are just the laws of physics.
Okay, let's say that we got the mathematics wrong, and that fast light travel is possible. Obviously, not all alien civilizations out there would figure it. But remember, there might be a huge number of them out there. Enough of them would get it. If distance doesn't matter.
Hey, what's going on, Advance? How you been doing lately?
Civilizations everywhere. Maybe some of them would want to remain hidden or just examined, but surely not all of them. At least some of them would have jumped onto the White House lawn and say, "Hey, here we are." And by the same line, at least some of them might be hostile and destructive. But here, nobody has destroyed us, and nobody.
And I know that it's October went by like a blink of an eye. Or I'm sorry, I can't even get the month right, man. August went by with a blink of an eye. I don't know what it was, but man, had to go to Dallas twice. I had a whole bunch of hybrid training up there. I had a couple of diags that kicked my butt. I made a mess in my stall. I need to fix it up. Everything is everywhere. Then getting some home reno done. It's too many things all at once. I feel like I've only slept maybe a couple of days of that month.
The aliens have to abide by the same laws of physics that we do. They aren't magic. They're not Harry Potter. They just can't do whatever they want.
Who's this jerk? I'm a bad shop owner. I wish I owned a shop. You failed to have a backup air compressor. Mission critical tools need to be double. Like,
Say, oh, the aliens don't have any limitations. Or humans are just not able to comprehend their superiority. Well, that's not science. That's bullshit. It might be true too. I also understand.
you got anything crazy you're working on, Advanced? Yeah, you got to cater to the haters though, because they feed the algorithm. So I got to poke back every once in a while. That's one of those. This video right here about me messing around with a circuit breaker, and I purposely held a screwdriver to poke it just because I knew it would drive content. It didn't do well at all for weeks, but somebody must have plugged it somewhere, and all of a sudden that thing's at like 500,000 views, and I'm like, thank you. I will take your views regardless of what you say. And you got to get back into the contents too. you got to get back in the comments and you got to answer, you got to leave these little hearts and thumbs up, because if you don't, then the video can just taper off and die. But the more you engage with the people in the comments, the more it regenerates and it goes back out into the public. It takes some time. I'll show you what I got here. Let me go over to the content. So you can see right here, I have this little identifier and it's on my Google browser too. Let me bring up a new tab. So I'm using this service provider right here called Video IQ. And you pay a monthly subscription and it gives you a plugin. And then that plugin gives you an inside look at the YouTube algorithm. So let's go into one of my videos right here. So once you upload a short, you got your title, you got your description. This service provider can give you some help with suggestions by using an AI. So you can plug in some keywords here and it'll generate a story for you. It'll generate a title for you. What I really like about it is it gives you this score over here. And that score is based off of the tags that you use in your video. And if you can't think of any, it has suggestions down here to add more tags. And the way you get this score up is by having a keyword match between your title, your description, and the tags. You do all that and it says, it tells you like, hey, like you have a better chance of your video being surfaced. And then down here, it'll tell you some things that you might have left out, like maybe putting in subtitles or putting in playlist recommendations. So all the little things that you wouldn't think about, it lets you know and it reminds you. So sometimes I'll put up a bunch of videos and then on the weekend I come back and then I'll clean up everything and make it look better. Oh, you got the same thing? Cool. Yeah, I felt like this service wasn't really working for the first couple of months, but you just got to keep playing with it and playing with it more. You got to also set up all the services too. You got to watch all their how-to videos on their website. So there's a part here, competitors. You got to plug in your competitors. And it's not like I'm trying to directly compete with them. It's just that they are a service that my subscribers also subscribe to. So I go to my main page and I can see all my subscribers down here and I can audit my subscribers and I can see what they're subscribed to. And if I start seeing some similarities, then I'll put that into my competitor slot and I'll start looking at what those people are doing for videos. And I'm not trying to mimic them, but I'll take suggestions for them. Shoot, I was like, you'd be surprised how many people want to watch videos of you changing brakes. It's hilarious. Yeah, it's late already. 9:14. Yes, I got stuck at the shop working on a hybrid today. I I don't know how I did it, but I didn't put the serpentine belt on correctly for the ISG, and that ISG ate that belt. Man, that was like $150 serpentine belt. I was like, damn it. And I don't get another one until Tuesday. So luckily luckily the old belt was still good. I only recommended a new belt for this service just because of the fact that the customer didn't know if the belt had ever been replaced, but I could tell by the wear marks and the part number that that belt was probably replaced about 10,000 miles ago. So I put the old belt on temporarily until I could warranty out the new belt that I put on. I'm gonna have to do a couple of sneaky things so that way I don't have to get stuck paying for a belt.
If we had an actual alien invasion, that would be an extraordinary threat. If we had some new kind of vehicle with flight characteristics that are apparently impossible, maybe Chinese, maybe Russian, maybe American.
Yeah, this is one of the big things that I have to do. Uh, Probably a couple hours a weekend is I have to go through all the comments and I have to do the thumbs up, I have to do the hearts, and I have to leave comments, no matter how tedious it is, because this all feeds the gravy train.
Not a single extraordinary crowd has ever been found, at least not that meets our high standard of evidence, which means projecting many anecdotal stories captured alien debris. So if we go through and eliminate all the more likely possibilities, extraordinary crowd of irresponsible inside. This is where we become the ones making the extraordinary and where we must present extraordinary evidence.
Skip headache, buy new head every build. Yeah, dude, it's like, oh, hey, what's up, HVAC baby? Hey, man, I'm just up doing some maintenance on the website. Got to answer some comments, and I was getting kind of lonely, so I said, "Why not? Let's just open it up." Man, I saw you in the live stream earlier working on that cross trek. Did you see that crazy business where I broke the serpentine belt? What's going up in the HVAC life right now? Man, I was looking at some new equipment from Yellow Jacket. Looking at getting a setup called Mantooth, so I could present an empathy gauge on the AC compressors. It's something that I read in a school book from the John Wayne University of HVAC. Ooh. USS Midway. What are you doing way out there, man? You're at the museum?
every lighthouse has its own unique interval for how often flash.
Yeah. Enthalpy. I sometimes I add a little bit more adjectives to my words due to keystones.
Let's hear that audio again, but with a beat pattern every 5 seconds.
Scale piece, huh? Let's see if I bring that up. And these are regulated for R134 and 1234 YF.
Years after it happened, he gave other interviews on TV shows as recently as 1994 and had never said anything about seeing a craft. And it wasn't until another TV show in 2003 that he first mentioned having a notebook. Back in 1980, when this happened,
We got here. I'm learning something new. Yeah, Yellow Jacket is one of my contributors to the schoolhouse that I'm at, so that's why I know about it. Because they now made a designated automotive one. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a competitor version.
there's no evidence that any of the events led by the TV show ever happened. So Rendell showed for
Yeah, the Philpiece wireless probes work with Measure Quick, which is gives you nice.
so going back to original accounts.
Nice. Start pricing this one out and take a look at it. It's about the same price as the Yellow Jacket version. And it's kind of doing the same thing. You got your temperature clamps right here. We got our service ports for high and low right here. Not too sure what this is.
These were said to have been over African humor.
Some sort of- Starship probes. What are those things?
Well, these were not for African children from Sunville. This school was among the most expensive private.
What do you call those?
Wealthy kids, mostly South African and British. Moving TV.
I didn't catch it. Psychrometers? Psychrometers. Hey, what's up, Paul P? Oh, that's engineer talk for temperature probe. Thank you. I've never heard of that word. That's a new word for me, man. Psychrometer. I get the last half of it where it says meter. Psychrometer. That's some crazy Latin there. That's somebody likes Latin and came up with that. They just couldn't call that a damn temp probe. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on my interesting list. Thank you for bringing that up, because I definitely am I definitely am in the market for this to test out compressor efficiency. I'm trying to start up a mobile business where somebody wants to get a vehicle appraised. If it's worth investing in, then I want to actually offer a flat service on a Subaru, specifically where I'll say $300. I'll come to your house. I'll do leak down compression test. I'll put a transducer into the intake and the exhaust, and I'll measure the volumetric efficiency of the engine. I want to invest in one of these setups right here where I can get an empathy chart and I can determine if the compressor is in good health or if it's like got a low charge or an overcharge. Because I want to really teach my customers that when you're shopping for a used car, you have to follow the same guidelines when you're purchasing a house. You know, you got to get an electrical inspector, you got to get a roof inspector, you got to get a general construction inspector. You know, if you're buying a multi-thousand-dollar item, it's just good to pay somebody a couple $100 to get a non-biased opinion. Because if you're just hoping to go off of the inspection of the person who's selling the car, I think you're always going to lose. Hey, Paul, man, I saw you in the live stream earlier today when I was working on that hybrid. Good to see you again, sir. I hope you caught the aftermath. I had a little bit of an accident in the last 20 minutes of the video, and it set me back about another 20 minutes. I destroyed I think that's about $150 serpentine belt. My bad. Dew point, humidity, wet bulb temperature, and dry. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm just now getting into playing around with let me get the words right. Shoot, what is it called? Ah, such a stupid word. I'm gonna look it up. This guy. I just got this guy right here. An anometer. Man, I can never remember that. I bought this thing a lot cheaper though. I think I got mine on eBay for $50 used. I love it to pieces. This thing is amazing. I use this in vehicles that have more than one evaporator core because they have front, rear AC, and they have AC in the headliner. So when somebody says like a certain spot of the car isn't cooling well or there's some warm air coming out, I've never been let down by this little guy. And I'll put that up to every vent in the car and I'll get the delta or the difference in wind speed measurement. And I love the sensitivity of this thing. Holy snow. I was like, just holding it in my hand and moving it like this, the fan turns. It's so sensitive. The bearing in that thing is slick. It's amazing. I love it to pieces. And I've actually been able to identify in a headliner that there was a crushed conduit for moving the air because a PDR guy was in there popping out some hail damage and his hooks, when he was just turning his hooks like that, he crumpled up the plastic conduit and it was screwing up the airflow. So that immediately pointed out that I had an airflow problem. I put up a bore scope and I was like, I got a crushed conduit. I need new conduits. Build that PDR guy about 4 hours of labor, dropped that headliner and replaced all the plastic. Robo Red, what's going on, baby? What are we working on today? I just got home from working on getting a 1981 CV900. Okay, I'm gonna look that up for everybody. 1981 CV900C. Ooh, let's get some pictures up here. Oh man, you play around with motorbikes? That's awesome, man. Oh man, that's such a simple design, good Honda engine. Man, I bet those things ride real smooth. Man, I really want to go back to riding a bike again. I miss it. I drove bikes all the time up in Montana. I liked it a lot, but here in San Antonio, it's death. I just do not have a death wish. The people here do not respect bicyclists. They do not respect motorcyclists. They're not even looking out for other cars. And I'm not about becoming a bologna and cheese sandwich. Thank you, Mr. HVAC. Thank you. That's amazing. Animator is a fancy word that measures. Yep. Yep. And I was really impressed for what I got with what I paid because I got the $10 version one. And then I got the fancy one that was by this Testo. And I like this brand a lot because it Bluetooths to my phone so I can data log everything. So when I start changing fan motor speeds, I can record it and then I can actually show that to my customer, like why I might have to get into the headliner, why I might have to pull the dash because they might have a blind door problem or they might have a such and such problem. It makes the tool paid for itself on the first day. It really did. And I thought this brand was going to be kind of gimmicky, but dang, no, I'm super impressed with it. And the tool is literally like this big, like it's so teeny tiny. So it makes it really nice to get into small places, unlike the cheaper ones, which are about this big. And they don't do any data logging. They just read out wind speed. So if you can't see the display, you're screwed. With that thing, I've literally taped that to a stick and shoved it into an engine bay so I can see the cooling fans on the engine. And I was looking at left and right fan, and I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "I can tell that this fan is running about 100 CFM slower than the other fan." And then I get my thermal imager out, and then I kind of know where I need to look, and I can explain to the customer, says, "All right, so this motor is 10 degrees hotter than this other motor, and because of that, I have a decreased deficiency in its ability to move air. The CFM is down." That device has been backing up my thermal imager 100%, and I can't say it enough. It paid for itself. This was a good brand. This was a good purchase. I was really happy with it. Clean the tank and it starts and kind of idles. Yeah. Well, that's an investment for you, but at least brakes are cheap, right? I mean, bike brakes are pretty small. As long as you don't have to get a new sprockets and a new rotors. Man, I never changed brakes on a motorcycle.
It did review classified information, but you showed them all of the.
I already killed that window. Dang it.
He went on to like freely about this. He wrote about.
4 carbs, 4 cylinders. Yeah, so then it's good. Honda makes a smooth bike. They really do. I've been on Harleys and yeah, they make a good show, but if you're gonna ride a motorcycle a lot, it's being on a nice smooth Honda, just get from point A to point B without a headache. It feels good. You want me to look at field fences? Really? Hey, field piece? Is that what it's? Yeah, that's got to be what you mean. Slick, bigger fan, definitely more expensive, but it's probably got some more tricks up its sleeve. Oh yeah, Yeah, that's got hard tactile switches, so you don't have to mess around with the software. You can just thumb switch what you want to read. That's pretty slick. Testo and Field Piece are probably the best when it comes to testing and measuring tools for HVAC. They are equal in terms of quality, just preference. Yep. I can definitely see the preference, and I can see the advantage of going with this device over the other one, because if you wanted to select different measurements and you want to select different temperatures, it's a thumb switch away. It's on the fly. I'm betting that's going to relate to the software that you're monitoring it with, as opposed to the Testo. All the you got to do all the changes on the software. So that means you got to stop your data log. You got to reset the tool. So I would say this one's nice if you want to flip flop around, and you want to see some more detailed information. And the Testo is just like you set it and forget it. Call it the Ronco style. I think I just need to seal for the calipers and the pistons seem good. Okay, good. Safety first, man. Now, I bet you're not. Are you having any trouble trying to find parts for that? Are they pretty available? Oh, must be the one they have linked right here. Usually that's what Amazon likes to do. It likes to recommend things in tandem with what you have pulled up.
So I called my grandfather.
But I've been really opening up my HVAC repertoire as far as special equipment. I got to get back to the welding store. They're supposed to have a uh, 10-pound tank. I think that's what I asked for. I think I asked for a 10-pound tank of carbon monoxide to look for AC leaks. So if I'm looking for a really tiny leak that's less than maybe, I would say like the size of a paperclip hole, the tiny leak, I would measure that leak with my smoke machine, because I wouldn't put smoke into the system, but I would hook up the smoke machine with shop air and I would measure the leak down, and it would say, okay, you have a 20 thousandths of an inch leak in the system. But a lot of times the Freon doesn't pull out the dye, which would allow me to look for it with my UV light. So I've been doing some reading into some other troubleshooting groups, and what they're doing is they're they're injecting about 30 psi of carbon monoxide into the lines, and then there's a spray on foam developer that you put on all the connection points where there could possibly be a leak, and the developer goes on yellow, and when it mixes with carbon monoxide it turns pink. A lot of guys who have evap problems on their vehicles have been using that. There's just been some cars from the 1980s and the 1990s where the gas tanks, they just, the layers in the tank have started to crack and separate, and you won't be able to find it with a smoke machine. But carbon monoxide is the molecule is so small it can work its way through the cracks. You spray the developer on, it comes off like an expanding foam. It looks really cool, and it's cheap too. You can get a can of spray foam about the size of a beer can for $10 a shot. So you can literally just bill it to the work order. I know that feeling, man. I had one project car, and I thought it was going to be super easy just to source every part, but I needed a new gas tank for the car, and no gas tanks available in the warehouses anymore. And this was a 2005 Outback. No more gas tanks because there was a leaky. What did I have on there? It was a vent valve. There was a bad vent valve on the gas tank, and the only way you could get that vent valve was to get a new gas tank. Sucked. $250 for the tank. So I was like, okay, order me one. Couldn't find one anywhere. Couldn't find one in America. Couldn't find one in Japan. Couldn't find one in Europe. Super annoying. I go to all the pick and pulls, and all the pick and pulls were like, yeah, that year of Outback, all the gas tanks are pulled. We know that those are in high demand, and they've already pulled them, and they've already been bought, and they're shipped. 'Cause I just had to let the car go. Somebody else has the car now, and they were able to retrofit another year gas tank in there, and it looks decent. I mean, I'm glad he fixed it. I mean, he was quite the DIYer. Like I tip my hat to his creativity. But yeah, he just knew all the year variances of 95 Outbacks all the way up to 2009. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to make one that works. And he just had some sort of access that I didn't. But that wasn't something I was about to mess with. That's good. That's one thing when you're doing a project, you'll never have problems finding breaks for something. It's always something weird like a cable or a stay bracket. Yes, a lot of guys do use nitrogen in the system. I've heard of that, but the developer kit doesn't react with nitrogen as well. I'm following a tool provider, ATS Tools by Bernie Thompson. So he's telling everyone to use carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide as the leak checker, as that is what his developer kit works with. I have to check into the details to see if his developer kit works with nitrogen.
So
Yeah, I it's like trades cross paths so much. It's just that we're so ignorant sometimes to take tips from one another. I guarantee that commercial HVAC has been using this trick for 40 years, and it's only surfaced on the automotive side in maybe the last 10 years. It's just so weird, man. I've brought in some really interesting troubleshooting tactics from other trades, and the manufacturers look at me like, "What is this voodoo?" I'm like, "Well, it's a troubleshooting tactic that's been on the market, man, for decades. We've just never tried to use it on automobiles. We should give it a shot." And they go, "No, no, 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 no." I had an engineer from Japan who got pissed off. I mean, I've never seen a Japanese guy get pissed off. This dude was pissed because I was putting carbon monoxide into his AC system. Like, he was one of the designers of this new 1234 system. And he was really pissed off. And he was telling me that I was contaminating the receiver dryer, and I was gonna break parts with all the pressure that I was putting in. And I was like, I was talking to the interpreter, and I goes like, I don't understand his logic. He can explain it to me, and I'll listen. But here's the facts: this AC system can hold pressure up to 300 psi on the high side and the low side. So his argument about how I'm going to break it with 40 pounds of carbon monoxide doesn't really make sense. And his I said, and the receiver dryer, it's there to pick up moisture, H2O. It doesn't give a damn about carbon monoxide. And most importantly, when I put a vacuum on the system for about an hour, I'm going to eliminate whatever I put in that system anyway. So I think he's just more mad that he thought maybe I didn't know the procedures to like make the system look good again. But it was not a good day because everybody at the shop was on this engineer side and ain't nobody was going to listen to my arguments. I just had to just kind of be like, yeah, okay, cool. Like agree to disagree, man. I fixed the problem. What do you want? Hey, where the bike is, there's an Outback that had all the stuff I want. Wait, you got a Baja, baby? Cup holders, wood trim piece, mail. Oh, you're speaking my language so bad. Let me just go ahead and get my credit card out and you can go back there and buy some stuff for me. Bro, pick and pulls are dangerous for me. They are so dangerous. I'll go in there looking for a harness and I'll come out with half a car and a few VIN number plates. Yeah, you're doing the soapy water trick with the nitro. Yeah, I'm just now learning about introducing in a different atmosphere into the HVAC system. So I'm really just following in key with Automotive Test Solutions.
Is there anything in the on the home screen that tells you the angle of the there's nothing that tells you an angle in it, but what we do is this azimuth angle and this other angle here, which is the elevation.
Where's the bullseye? There's the bullseye.
Move this along. You see as we move around a certain region, it has to be a rotation in order to keep punching in a certain direction.
Let me go look. Yeah, so I don't use their special electronics, but I know that they sell this grab and go CO2 kit where you can just plug it into the high side port and you can right here, you can shoot in 90 grams of CO2 into an evacuated system and start looking for leaks. Those little cartridges, they sell them in I think it's like an 8-pack for about $40. But that's why I was just gonna get a big old 10-gallon tank from the welding store because they have a ton of that and it's cheap. Like you pay maybe $100 for a tank and then you go and refill it for $20. And I could probably do 100 cars with that. And then they have the developer foam that you spray on there. So you get 4 cans of this developer shot that reacts with CO2. And that one can, I might get like 3 or 4 cars out of it because once you learn where the leak points are at, it's not that hard. That's usually the big problem with residential AC versus home AC is you guys braze all your connections and all our stuff is bolted together with O-rings. Okay, yeah, nitro. All right, nitro's dry. Know what? Yeah. Yeah, we used to be able to change out the dryers in the automobiles as a single unit years ago, but then somebody got a bright idea to integrate the receiver dryer into the condenser, and it turned a $30-$40 part into a multi-$100 part plus labor, because a lot of these condensers are buried into the front bumper, and it's stupid. The receiver dryer used to actually just be sitting somewhere in the engine bay, and you could unbolt it and bolt a new one in a matter of seconds. It was almost like putting an oil filter on. But that's automobile assembly for you. They're always trying to integrate things to make the building of the car at the factory cheaper. That's what it all boils down to, is how much faster can we build these cars and get them out, and integrating parts into other parts. That's what they'll do. Eventually we're going to see steering wheels coming with steering columns. Oh, you got a 5-speed. So I stared at the pamphlet. I stared at the brochure for a Baja the day they came out, like in 2003 when they came. Oh, 2004. Bajas came out in 2004. I was in Montana. I looked at that website like every day, and I was like, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one. I could not afford those damn cars. I was like, it's a $40,000 car back in 2004, 2005. I couldn't get one, man. And so years go by. I'm in Afghanistan, and I got really smart at stocks, and I made really good on stock markets. Just got lucky. I'm gonna say it was lucky. Really was. It was just beginner's luck. Something stupid like the Sirius XM. Their stock tanked, and their stock was tanking because their contract with Ford, Toyota, and I think General Motors, it lapsed, because when you buy a new car, you get maybe like 1 to 3 years worth of free Sirius XM. So their stock went from $3 a share to 25 cents a share. And my gut told me, no way in hell is an auto manufacturer gonna let that deal slide. I was like, they're making so much money off of selling a subscription. Because you got to think, like, Sirius XM is paying the manufacturer for every car that they can put a subscription on, because what they're counting on is the user to get hooked onto the service, and then after a year of having it, and they go like, oh well, I guess I'll pay them $100 a year. So they're paying the manufacturer like $10 a car to keep that in there, and I knew that knowledge ahead of time. So I was like, this just has to. I told myself this has to be a negotiating error. They were probably trying to renegotiate something, and because they passed the renewal contract, the stock tanked. I says, no way this service is going dead. We're not going to leave multi-million-dollar satellites sitting out in geosynchronous orbit. No way. So I had maybe $2,500 in reserve, and I just said, screw it, throw it all out there. And I bought up $2,500 worth of Sirius XM stock at 25 cents a share. Within 6 months, it was back up to $2. So I came home and I got my Baja. I found me it was 2010, and I found me a 2005 Baja Turbo with 40,000 miles on it. Super happy, drove it every day. It was my daily. I loved it. I had so much fun in it. I picked up so much dirt. I picked up lumber. The guys at the Home Depot, they called that the Mary Poppins mobile, because you lay down the tailgate and then you lay down the cabin half. And I was throwing like 16-foot 2x4s in there, and they go like, where the hell is that lumber going? Well, I was like, well, the other end's poking the windshield. You just don't see inside the cabin because I got limo tent. but it was just hilarious to watch all those guys with dualies picking up lumber and their lumber sticking 25 feet outside the tailgate and mine just going into the car and they're like, is this a joke? But then my inner asshole kicked in and I said, well, the car's fast, but could it go faster? And that's when I made a mistake. And I should have just left it stock, but I didn't leave it stock. I got into a bunch of Facebook groups and I modded that car out so bad. Um Doing side jobs for people repairing STIs, like guys who wanted to upgrade STIs, I was keeping all the STI parts as payment. So they would say, "Oh, I want to put in a Garrett turbo so I can make more boost." Like, how much? And I'll say, I'll keep your VF stock turbo. Okay. So I spend 5 hours putting a new turbo into an STI, and I keep this OEM turbo that has like 20,000 miles on it. And eventually I worked up enough parts that I was able to do a whole engine STI conversion. I had short block heads, I had the turbo, the exhaust, everything. I even had to pay $2,500 to get a custom made exhaust for the Baja because I didn't want a cheap one that just kind of hung out below the axles. I paid one that actually went up into the chassis of the car. So it looked all tight and neat. And yeah, I was stupid. So that car went from making, I think they were like 255 horsepower off the lot. I was hitting like 300 with the 5 speed on it. I was being a little conservative because I didn't want to break that 5 speed transmission. I know that the 5 speed transmission has a 300 horsepower limit. So that's kind of where I stopped and I focused more on low end torque. Uh, then I started playing around with E85, and that's when I burned valves. Pulled the heads off, I fixed the valves. Then trying to turn it into a time attack. I was like really obsessed with trying to get into the 12s because I was only pulling when I raced it the first time on the track, my quarter mile was like 14.1. And a couple of tweaks with the fuel and bigger injectors, I got into low 13s and sub 13s. And then I was like obsessed with getting in the 12s. Well, I popped that block real fast and I just didn't have the money for another block. And I was hurting really bad at the time. And I just needed to move on with life. And I just said, screw it. I'm done with this life. I'm done with racing cars. And I made the mistake of actually turning my daily driver into a race car, which was stupid. I tell people this now: never turn your daily driver into a time attack car, a race car, a mod car, because that car has to get you to work. I screwed up so bad. So I just had to eat it, man. I put it up on the Facebook group and I said, $4,000 blown short block. Come and get it. Cash in hand, first one, first serve. And I had a guy within a week come up with $4,000 cash. 3 months ago, that guy came back to my garage and I gave him a job. And he drives that car to this day. He found a 2006 Forester XT motor for $600 and just did a straight drop in there. And I was like, I didn't think of that because at the time the Baja Turbo and the Forester XT shared the same short block, the same cylinder heads. And yeah, I could have gone to a pick and pull and just got a whole long block probably for like $600. But yeah, I miss that car to this day. And every day I pray he crashes it just so that he can live without a Baja too. So let's move on. So I wish I had to pick a D pull anywhere near me. A D pull. A pick and pull. A pick and pull. Personally, if you charged a small system like that with 300 pesos, you'd probably hear the leak. You would be surprised. You would be surprised on automotive, the high side, you will not hear it. And especially in a garage where you got impacts and fans and music. Nope. I'd have to stay after hours to hear that thing just go. "Sss." And when you're hunting for like a 10 thousandths of an inch leak, nope. I've even put the soapy bubbles on there and never found anything. I actually got recommended. Where is it? Where is it? I think it's called like Cobra soap or something like that. Yeah, there it is, right there. This is actually really good leak detection soap. I like it a lot because it has a big, heavy glycol in there, so it doesn't run off your connection. I like it a lot. This is good for the soapy bubble test, but she runs a little expensive, so you want to buy it in bulk. But I like this stuff. But yeah, even on a 10 thousandths of an inch leak test, which is a pinhole, this stuff did not react. Yeah, my welding skills are not good outside of copper. Like I know you can braze the snot out of copper. And I was fortunate enough that I kind of got to do a little OJT with somebody who does residential AC. He works on appliances. So he was showing me the special tools I needed in order to recharge a appliance with 1234 YF or 134A. And I was like, oh, that makes complete sense. So now I have a torch and I can recharge my home appliances really easy. How to auto repair. Hey, what's up, my man? Hey, you know what? I actually just got on to do some working on the channel. I was going through the comments. I was changing up some of my tags in the videos. And I was like, I'm getting kind of lonely. I'm just going to open up the feed. Maybe there's some other people out there who are just having a lonely Saturday. And if they want to talk, they talk. So yeah, we've been talking about HC and leak detection and anometers and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's been a good chat with Mr. HVAC here. This guy's teaching me some things and I got some new tools to go look at. And RoboRat's got a Hondu that can't do right now. And he's rubbing it in my face that he's got a Baja Turbo 5-speed. If you need a 6-speed for that thing, you come talk to me. I'll palletize one and send it to you. There's a 6-speed that's sitting on the ground and it needs new synchros. Synchros are easy. We probably got to go spend about $300 at the Harbor Freight to go get a press, but you can do it. You got an off-road Baja. Ooh-wee. Yeah, the best sounding exhaust. Oh, who made that? Who made that exhaust? That was a company out of Georgia who made the exhaust for my Baja. I'm trying to think this. Who made it? Oh, who's here? I don't even know if they're still in business. Yeah, the company that made it for me, they were making these exhaust systems build to order, and it was called Random Technology Exhaust. And I can tell you that they regretted giving me lifetime warranty on that exhaust because every TIG weld cracked after after 2 years of driving the snot out of it and racing it. But they still have the blueprints, so you can hit them up and they'll build you one from scratch, and they'll make it with high flow cats or no cats. But I'm telling you, man, it wasn't cheap. It was a pretty exhaust system. It was really pretty. It fit perfectly. No rubbing on the drivetrain. All the exhaust hangers were lined up perfectly. It was a good exhaust system. The reason why those welds cracked was more than likely because I beat the snot out of that car when I was taking it to the drag strip. I was stupid. Okay. All right. We're going to look at an ultrasonic here. ULTRA. We'll start with the Amazon. We'll see what's out there. I have a sniffer. Is this the same thing as a sniffer? But I have a Robin Air sniffer, and it has a little air pump in there, and it can smell gases. I like using it a lot, but unfortunately, I can't use the sniffers during main shop time because if somebody's blasting like brake cleaner like 10 feet away from me, all that vapor will get picked up by my sniffer and it'll go off. So sometimes when I got to use the sniffer, I'll come in early or stay late. Okay, this is different. I'm going to look at this one later because what I see that this would be really good for looking for exhaust leaks. Because what I do with with my mechanic stethoscope is I'll take the hose off the diaphragm and I can wave it around and I can hear the little pop 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 sounds. This looks like a much safer electrical version. Cool. Yeah, these are sniffers. A ultrasonic leak detector kit. And a tone generator. Oh, that dude's waving this thing at a freaking oil tower. Oh yeah, he can sniff oil. What the hell is that? I love the photoshopping on this. I'm gonna have to go. Holy crap, that's loud. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. I get these complaints a lot of wind noises around here on the A pillar after windshields are installed. So this is pretty much taking my mechanical stethoscope and hooking it up to an audio amplifier. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the research pile. I gotta learn more about that. That's dude, HVAC, you teach me something every time, man. When trades collide. One day I'm gonna teach you how to rotate tires on your truck. I tell you, I'm gonna pay you back. I'm gonna teach you how to rotate tires. Yeah, snake oil. I call it snake oil. I love the blue stuff. I make my shop hates it whenever I put an order in because they go like, "Why am I paying $10 for soapy water?" I gotta remember. I think they tell you it helps to put the rear diff in. Otherwise, you just get really bad gas mileage. But when you do the 6-speed swap, you got to do everything. You got to get 6-speed. You got to get a new drive shaft. There's Yeah, you got to do the rear diff, and then you got to get new You got to get the rear axles. So if you're doing it, the best thing to do is let's look at the WRX. The We used to call it the Houston Graveyard. They've changed ownerships. So these guys are who you want to get in touch with. They're in the port at Houston, and what they can get you is they can get you an entire STI drivetrain palletized. So they'll palletize the transmission, the rear diff, all four axles, the hubs, because of course you're going to need hubs to go with the axles. And last I checked, about 5 years ago, I think that was going for like 5 grand shipped anywhere in the U.S. But yeah, when you do the 6-speed swap from the STI into the Baja, you gotta get everything. And then the drive shaft, they'll give you the name of the guy who makes the drive shaft for you, and it's actually not that much. The drive shaft is only like $600 balanced and shipped because he already has the specifications. The guy did the measurements, and they found out that if you have a legacy GT, it's the same length. So he's pretty much just making you a legacy GT that that's balanced to that's strong enough and balanced enough to hold a 300. It's a drive shaft that's meant to hold like 500 horsepower because it's going on a 6-speed. You can't use the legacy GT because that thing tops out at 300, so you'll blow out the carrier bearing. You got to get a custom made drive shaft with an upgraded carrier bearing that won't break off your chassis. Couple of lessons learned from a few other guys who went down that road. They do make ones that are just sensitive microphones. Yep, dude, I'm gonna be looking into this. I got some free time coming up, and I can guarantee I'm gonna be buying something. I'm gonna be playing with it. This sounds like a really cool experiment to play with, and I've been looking for something a little bit more on the not blow your eardrums out. Because I don't know if you've ever used a mechanical stethoscope before. They're fantastic for listening to noises, but I tell you what, if you're not paying attention to what you whack that wand against, oh, oh man, it's like getting poked in the ear and slapped in the face at the same time. Low temp Big Blue is thicker and doesn't run as much. Yeah, yeah, that's the guy I like using, the one with the snake on it. Everyone, if you're looking for AC leaks, this is your juice right here. And if you're in a general shop area, you need to lock it up. As you can see, this stuff is like $16 a quart, and you do not want some Lubitech borrowing it to go look for nails and tires. Okay, that stuff's expensive, but it works great because it's thicker. It doesn't run off, so it's gonna maintain a holding pattern, and it's gonna when you spray it on the top of a connection, like a where there would be a O-ring, it's gonna wrap all the way around. It's gonna want to hold on to that pipe. It's beautiful stuff. On your first diag where it finds a leak, it paid for itself. Hey, later, Robo Rat. I think I heard that. Yes, I am. I wonder if my thread is still up. Years ago, I was a moderator in the Baja threads here. Newbies, interior, car care, car audio. Technical, classifieds. There used to be a section where you could just look it up by car. Can I do a search? Yes. That sucks. There is a thread in Nausiac Roborat that is called Baja What Works with What. And we used to actually have the forums broken down by vehicles. So there was a Baja forum, a Tribeca forum, WRX's STIs, Outbacks, Legacies. Haven't been on here in years. But if you can find the Baja forum, it is stickied at the top. And the title of the forum is called What Works with What. And that was a group of us who were grave robbing other cars and trying to make stuff work. So we found out what ECUs could transplant from STIs and everything like that. There was a lot of guys who were sharing tune maps on there. Well, everyone, this I think Robo's kind of hit the nail on the head there. I got 10:19 on my side, Central Standard Time. I got the little lady who's kind of giving me the head nod that maybe I should turn in for the night. So I will see you all later. I want to thank you for hanging out with me this evening. I'm so happy to be back online, and I will be back with you soon. Cheers, everyone.